Alright, ATH Pugs, hello, my name is Facehurter and welcome to the Freya Hard Mode guide. So check it out, right? We've got Freya Hard Mode here. We've got 3 keepers, extra mechanics. You're going to notice some things going on. Firstly is this ground trimmer. It has a timer on DBM. You should have DBM. It's going to tick down and deal a bunch of damage, and if you're casting during that, similar to Ignis on normal mode, it will silence you or interrupt you for a while. That shit sucks. Don't let that happen. Iron Roots are going to periodically root members of the raid, put them in place, which is bad, in conjunction with these sunbeams here. To make sure that we're breaking our friends out of the Iron Roots. Paladins in the raid, you might want to save your bops for healers and such who are stuck and rooted during detonating lashers or during problematic roots and sunbeam combinations. Fourth thing that you're going to want to worry about is the gifts of ENR. They're the trees that are going to pop up. So these mechanics that I'm listing here are going to apply to every single part of the fight. So in addition to everything happening during the fight, just please bear in mind that these exist. Moving into the positioning of the fight. Whoever's tanking Freya is going to turn her away from the raid, put her in the center. Everybody's going to just kind of like move into 2 stacks here. You have the stacks of the ranged and the healers. You have the stacks of the melee and the off tanks. You don't really need to do anything unless you're, getting your slicing dice up or what have you. Very shortly after the fight starts, the first ad wave will start. We will have 2 sets of the 3 different types of ads, resulting in 6 waves total. Math is hard. The first that I'm going to cover here is the mushroom guy. What's going to happen is a bunch of fucking mushrooms are going to sprout up, right? We're going to move to them. We're going to just pull Freya to the nearest mushroom that we can, probably favoring up side of the river here. Our off tank, whoever's dedicated to tanking the conservator, is going to move the conservator to the nearest mushroom here. These mushrooms will give you a 25% damage increase, and if you're not under one, you will be silenced and pacified for the duration of the ancient conservator's life cycle. So it's imperative that we go ahead and move Freya somewhere so that the tanking Freya can continue to tank Freya. We're going to have the off tank, who's not tanking the conservator, just continuing to build threat here on Freya, just to secure second threat in case something bad happens to the tank and he gets touched in his... All of our melee get, on this little mushroom here, just fucking stack up real close, nice and tight. So you got ranged over here at other mushrooms. You don't want everybody stacked on one. You kind of want to spread them out as nicely as you can. And they're going to be some that crop up all over the place. But this is what a very beautiful conservator wave would look like. This is how we want it to look. You'll see that we've got some people who aren't necessarily doing the right thing. I'm fucking off, and I hate you, and I hope that that you get better. Can you point out who's in the wrong? Yeah, absolutely. This guy is wrong. Don't be this guy. These guys are wrong. This guy's wrong. This DPS is wrong because he's this guy. Yeah, this has happened to us in real life. Don't be this guy. This guy gets no bit. Don't be this guy. Classic example of everything going wrong. Oh yeah, I forgot about this guy. So you've got this proper stack. Here's how it starts. We're going to get these debuffs. The sunbeam comes up. That mushroom's no longer safe. At that point, everybody needs to move away from that mushroom to a different mushroom. Now this might not be ideal. We might actually prefer to have everybody move over here, but it's going to be kind of a touch and go thing. It doesn't really matter that much. It just matters that you're under a mushroom so that you're not fucking silenced, because that's not good. We'll have some trees crop up and shit. This is Storm Fury. It deals DPS to everybody around you. If you get Storm Fury, just get the fuck away from the raid. Yeah, you're going to be silenced. Yeah, you're going to be pacified. Tanks are an exception, right? If a tank gets it, you just kind of tank it. You kind of just deal with it. You see, this melee was hitting the conservator. This range was hitting the conservator, but he got Storm Fury. So what did he do? He ran the fuck, and they sit there until their Storm Fury fades. Get out of there. Raid Daddy will love you. Raid Daddy won't. But you don't need to be like over here. Be like 10-ish yards away from your fellow raid members. You get bitches. This guy gets bitches. This guy gets bitches. He's actually probably a little too far. He could even be like over here. This is a bitch getting position right here. Tree pops up. This guy has to sit here and get a little cucked on the tree, but that's no problem. A couple of fire bolts, a little bing bang blow, and somebody gets rooted, everybody just turns and kills it. No problem. And if we're in a situation and roots come out, right, you just go over here and hit shit real quick. This healer got saved. His life is saved. This is gone now. And the healer's just like, oh, daddy, he sucks your dick, right? That's how that works. Conservator dies. These mushrooms also give you 25% damage buff if you didn't have a good enough reason to be in them. And this 3-pack, we have some guidelines here. So this is what it's going to typically look like, right? The range are still in the relative stack that we pulled in. Dedicated off tank that was over here building second threat on Freya pulls the snap lasher out. And this is going to be preferentially a tank that can kind of do a little range threat and then like chains of ice it, kite it around. Big boy, big energy right here. This guy. And everybody's like, oh my god, your dick is so big. And you're like, I know, dude, I got threat and I'm kiting things crazy. Oh, this is the Storm Lasher and the Ancient Water Spirit, right? We're going to get them down to 30% each. We're not going to kill one and then like wipe. Once these are at 30%, we just want to turn to nuke the Snap Lasher like immediately, like, 'cause that's big dick shit right there. 30%. And you nuke this one to 0%. After we call for the nuke, you don't hit these guys until this guy's dead. And then we kill these two together. And we have a 15-second window to do that. The first 3-pack that we see will probably lust that pack. Alright, so all the while we're killing these, what we're going to be dealing with are a few mechanics here that suck a lot of dick. The Water Spirit here is going to do this thing called Tidal Wave, where it charges. We've had to move because some sunbeams popped up and they were in like the melee. So the tank, he went from here to here. This guy goes to cast Tidal Wave. We're gonna have a dedicated interrupter. The Storm Lasher is gonna do Storm Bolt. We'll have another dedicated interrupter to the Storm Bolt. These guys might not switch onto the Snap Lasher. These dedicated interrupters might stay dedicated to interrupting. Meanwhile, everybody else is switching to the Snap Lasher. Every time he gets hit, he stacks this shit called Hardened Bark, which increases his damage. Eventually, he just starts skull fucking whoever he's hitting. So, like, if we had, like, a DK, like spamming Icy Touch and kiting this guy around, don't be in melee range when it gets, like, rooted or stunned or whatever, because then it'll turn around and it'll eat you for breakfast. You don't want to get your salad tossed by the Snap Lasher. Finish off these dudes in a totally heterosexual way, and we fucking move on. They're dead now. No problem. Wave's over. Lastly, we've got these detonating lashers. So when that happens, right, everybody's going to collapse on the tanking Freya. We want to take your cookies, bitch. What's going to happen here is we'll use a combination of Army of the Dead from our DKs and like Challenging Shout and Shockwave and stuff from our warriors, Fears from our priests. All that stuff is going to happen, right? So on the first one, there's definitely going to be Army of the Dead involved, and on the second one, there's definitely going to be a Challenging Shout from the Warrior involved. In either case, that will always be followed up with a Shockwave from the Warrior, no matter what the Warrior is tanking. And at that point, they should be getting pretty low. The tank that's not doing anything actively, not tanking Freya and not Challenging Shouting, can move over here to like this edge of the room. And the Hunters, we're going to move like to the farthest south. Everybody else is going to start moving away from them as soon as that Challenging Shout goes off. And be mindful, as we're condensing, that this tank is going to have to taunt Freya back when this tank does the Challenging Shout. We'll call for collapse. The tank tanking Freya begins to move Freya out. This tank here, Challenging Shouts all the adds onto them. This tank to the river. You guys are like doing a little bit of damage and then moving out as well. Or, you know, the DK's popping Army and moving out as well. Whatever your job is, right? Because these guys don't have a proper threat table, but they are susceptible to taunts. What they're going to do is drop threat constantly, and they're going to move toward whoever is the farthest away from them. In this instance, it's going to be the Hunter for the most part, but they might fan out and run after somebody else. They're going to fan out, and a Warrior Tank is great here because Warrior Tank can Vigilance the Freya Tank, and then every time the Freya Tank takes damage, his taunt's off cooldown, so you can just spam taunt these dudes. Once the Challenging Shout is off, the other tank that's not like Challenging Shout, or that has Challenging Shouted, will just be over here, like also helping out, just taunting shit off, moving shit away from the raid. I mean, it's important that if we can't cleanly separate the tank tanking Freya from the detonating lashers, or the raid from the detonating lashers, that we don't kill them all at the same time, because when they die, they fucking detonate, and they'll kill us all. Healers, you definitely want to get a wide berth, as wide a berth as you can. DPS, you're probably going to just want to serve as like a wall, and all your slows here are great. Any root you have, any knockback you have, Typhoon, Thunderstorm, Blast Wave, Frost Nova, Psychic Scream, Intimidating Shout, Hamstring, Piercing Howl. These stuns work on these guys too. Even if you're a Holy Paladin, you can Hodge it. Warlock, you can Shadow Fury it if you go Destro. That would be like a mega super Giga Chad play. If you had a big dick, you could fucking just drop that shit on them, right? Big time. And since we, in this scenario, we didn't manage to kind of AoE them down because we couldn't get the tank out safely or what have you, we're just gonna start picking him off. And he's dead now, right? And then, oh, he blew up, and then this guy, maybe this guy, took like 6k damage. Instead of killing this guy immediately after, we're gonna wait like 3 seconds for these two healers to top these 3 players off, and then we'll kill it. These guys are always going to be free to kill. If the tanks are in position over here, and they have like the taunt aggro, and then like subsequently Conk Blow, Shockwaves, Chains of Ice, and all that shit on these dudes, like you're clear to kill these guys pretty freely, because nobody should really be over here. It should just be the tanks, and all the DPS should be the bottom side of the river. Freya tank, right after the Challenging Shout, should be taunting Freya back and getting the fuck out as fast as possible. For the most part, these guys will stay condensed for quite a while, but what you're going to want to make sure is that, you know, as they're condensed, you're fucking gone. Don't stick around. You will die. We'll kill these detonating lashers, no problem. We've killed the 6 waves. Okay, now what do we do? At this point, it's just the same as normal, right? We're going to have the tank, tanking Freya, move Freya to the river. You know, the off tanks and the melee DPS stack up on our ass. There'll be a separate ranged stack back here right behind them. You're going to see some of these fucking bombs. They're going to look like Dire Maul seedling bomb things. Your camera might move even, just to give you an indication that something is now obstructing your player, and it's going to zoom your camera in. Something's going to happen. Somebody's going to call it. And then we're all just going to move as a group. You're paying attention. So you're going to move across the river, and then we're going to rinse and repeat that over and over again until the boss is dead, until the encounter is over. And then we fucking win, dude. This is about as close as I can get to a concise guide. Maybe hearing it directly from me will help. Use this as a reference, and I'm sure I'm going to heavily edit it, but, you know, if you have questions, feel free to ask. All right.